A K-file in-depth CNN investigation. Donald Trump has long claimed that he was no fan of Jeffrey Epstein. But K-file's extensive reporting now shows the two shared a close social circle for nearly 2 decades, from private jet flights to high-profile parties, and that's only part of the story. Photos, flight logs, and court records help reveal how long their personal history really was. K-file's Andrew Kaczynski is here with all of that. And it is some extensive research and reporting that you all did. You've chronicled this relationship between Trump and Epstein from the 80s to what, mid-2000s is obviously when their contact probably cut off. What's the most striking thing that you find that kind of contradicts this? Donald Trump is no fan of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, so what we found, it really actually paints a portrait starting, as you said, in the 1980s up to the mid-2000s. It paints this portrait of a long, enduring friendship. I think there were several associates who have called them best friends. Epstein himself said that he was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years. And we looked through these hundreds of hours of video, hundreds of photos. We went through documents from court files, exhibits from lawsuits. So we really chronicled this whole relationship through time. And one thing that I found really interesting was these flight logs from Epstein's private jet, which were part of that investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell. And they really tell you a story of how close these guys are. Look at just a few of them. This is in 1993, for instance. This is the same year that we found as well that Jeffrey Epstein attended Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. Trump flew on that plane 4 times with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell between Palm Beach, where Mar-a-Lago is, and where Epstein also owns a home. Let's fast forward then to 1994. Trump flew from Palm Beach to Washington, D.C. with his then wife, Marla Maples, his daughter, Tiffany, and a nanny before they returned to New Jersey that day. In August 1995, just he and Eric were on board with Epstein and Maxwell again. They flew from Palm Beach to Teterboro in New Jersey. And then in January 1997, Trump flew with the pair from Palm Beach to Newark, New Jersey. All of these trips, 8 in total, were documented in logs that I mentioned were from that trial.
You also took a look at what Donald Trump himself has said about Jeffrey Epstein. What did you find?
Yeah, that's right. And one of the things that's always been so striking is that quote that he said in 2002 that we found in that New York Magazine article where he said he was a terrific guy, he liked beautiful women just like him. And then that quote where he says he likes many of them on the younger side. That was from an article entitled Jeffrey Epstein, International Money Man of Mystery in New York Magazine. Now, just 2 years later, we were going through Donald Trump's book, and there he had one called How to Get Rich. And then we wrote in his book that somebody named Mysterious Jeffrey had called him, and that you could see it right there. That's the passage from his book. He says Jeffrey calls in, but there was actually a lot of activity between these two in 2004. One of the things that was seized from Jeffrey Epstein's home during that initial investigation to him in the mid-2000s were message pads. And on those message pads, there were if you look here, 2 messages from Donald Trump in November of 2004. This is around the time the two of them actually were competing to buy a property in West Palm Beach. Trump ultimately won out. He beat Epstein, and this is allegedly part of what made their relationship deteriorate.
Yeah, Donald Trump's talked about that as well. Your review also, I mean, you looked also through tons of photos and tons of video of Trump and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell together, from Mar-a-Lago to here in Manhattan. Walk us through kind of some of those moments that you found.
Yeah, Kate, and these images, they really speak for themselves. In November 1992, there's an image that a lot of people have seen, and it's of Trump and Epstein, and they're dancing there. You can see with models. I think you can see Ghislaine Maxwell in the background if you look. She was there just a second ago. Just a year later, we had found, or previously, Epstein was at Trump's wedding in 1993. That's the photo there on the left. 1997, you can see in that photo on the right, that's them at a Victoria's Secret Angels event. And then in 1999, this is footage that I found in some archives, shows Trump and Epstein, and they're actually chatting at a Victoria's Secret fashion show. In 1997, he was also photographed with Maxwell at a fashion show. These guys attended a lot of fashion shows together, it looks like. And then in February of 2000, there was an event in Mar-a-Lago that featured not only Trump, Epstein, and Maxwell, but also Prince Andrew was also at this event, and these images were initially published in the Palm Beach Post in the year 2000. So there's a lot of public appearances, and it definitely undercuts Trump's claim that he was not a fan and they were sort of just distant acquaintances.